trite, boring, formulaic stories don't hold water beyond a point. I think the actors respect the writers, and the writers respect the audience respect only good stories. So I think it's a very healthy ecosystem where good stories are welcome. And the yeah,
Hi Siva, welcome to the podcast, The Artist,
thank
and
you.
thank you for being here
Yeah,
and
it's my
taking your
pleasure.
time.
Yeah,
And it's been a while since we actually met for the first time at the film festival, and then now
yeah.
we're meeting face to face. How is it going? You're somewhere holidaying.
Yeah, I'm in the US, visiting my family in Atlanta, just chilling
Lovely,
here. Mhm.
lovely, lovely. Siva, when we met and with a very brief conversation, at that point, I realized that you had a very long association with Mani Ratnam sir, and you have been an independent director, producer, scriptwriter in your own individual capacity. Recent film, Siva, is Tug's Life, which I was
But,
Tug Life, and
yep,
which has got released, and you're one of the producers on the film, along with Kamal Haasan sir, and Mani Ratnam sir.
I'm Mr. Mahendran. Yeah, there
Uh,
are four of us.
yes. So how has it been with that film, because it was in the news for quite some time?
Well, we started making that film a couple of years ago, but the talks had started even before that. It's a very special film because we got to work with two of the most iconic filmmakers, at least the two guys I personally idolized all my life. So it was a very special journey. Yeah.
So, you have had association with two of the stalwarts of Tamil cinema, which people really want to know more in terms of the work structure as well, also in terms of as people, because your collaborations in the industry, in whatever capacity it is, as a director, as a writer, as a producer, makes a whole lot of difference in terms of the kind of work that you do in the industry. So tell us, and for our listener artists out there, how important are collaborations in the film industry, and how do you go about doing them?
Okay, to answer your question in a very nerdy way, let me break it down to the equation between Mr. Kamal and Mr. Money, and my individual equations with each of them. They both had made Nayakan back in 1987. It's an iconic film. It's been a landmark motion picture in Indian cinema. So they had waited for a long time to come together. Obviously, they were both busy in their own projects for decades. So when they actually came together, the work flow between them had to be smooth. For that, they had come with zero filters, so to speak. The conversation between them was always easy flowing, and it was done with a lot of enthusiasm and respect. As for me, I've been working for Money Sir since 1998 on and off, but that's probably the only job I've had all my life, even if I've had other ventures outside. So my Madras Showcase is my home ground. So my role as a producer was to actually represent Madras Showcase and take care of the execution part. And luckily for me, I had worked with Mr. Kamal for a couple of years in the mid 2000s. So I do know him in the work capacity. How we went about this was the all the creatives were decided between the two of them, and the whole marketing part was handled by Mr. Kamal's office, represented by Mr. Mahendran, their producer, and our job was to execute it. So if you're
Yeah.
talking about collaboration, I think a clear-cut delineation of the duties kind of helped. We knew who was in charge of what, and we trusted the other person to take care of their part of the deal. And of course, suggestions are welcome, and you also don't have to hold back when you actually think you have something to say. Uh, uh, to answer your question succinctly, I would say this is a team sport. It's like playing soccer or cricket. Each one has a role. The wicketkeeper has to do the stumping. The fine leg person has to do the running. So having mutual respect and clearly defined responsibilities has helped us. I think all big collaborations have worked like that.
Mutual respect and defining our responsibilities. So it said the South industry has been most recently been considered something that we should look up to. You know, the Hindi film industry should look up to and say how professionally the South industry works, and because they also deliver content and films which is doing much better as an industry as compared to the Hindi, the Bollywood film industry. Do you think? I mean, of course, that's true, but what's your point of view there in terms of the truth? But also, what do you feel that why is it that the South industry, specifically the Tamil cinema, because it occupies a large chunk in the South industry, is doing much better as compared to the other industries? Let's not say Bollywood, but yes, definitely.
I'm not trying to be nice or being politically correct. Let me
Yeah,
speak from the heart. Though I am made of the Tamil stock, that's what my DNA is. I do consider myself to be an Indian filmmaker because I worked in Telugu, I worked in Hindi, I worked in English. Of course, I worked in Tamil as well. And I have friends all over the country working in the movie industry. There was a perception that the South Indian film industry was a lot more disciplined back in the 50s when Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam films were all made in Chennai, Bengali films were made in Calcutta, and Hindi films were made in Bombay. Uh, uh, then by the mid 90s, a lot more money got pumped into the Hindi film industry because of the overseas market. So when I started my work in the late 90s, there was a strong perception that the Hindi film industry was more professional. I
yeah,
remember distinctly
yeah.
working as the first AD in Yuva,
Wow, yeah,
and the DOP, Mr. Ravi K. Chandran, kept pushing me to make my call sheets more professional and run the unit tighter. And he kept throwing this name Zoya Akhtar at me because he had finished. Because he had finished Dil Chahta Hai a couple of years before that, and he kept saying, "You should know how professional the Bombay industry is." And he comes from the South Indian filmmaking tradition, so to
yeah,
speak.
yeah.
So I grew up not even knowing Zoya well, but admiring her work. And
Agree.
to make the workflow more professional and tighter, I wanted to learn more about how the Hindi film industry functioned. So I think this is all a cycle. Sometimes you think one industry is doing well and the other one has to play catch up. But the idea is we keep going round in circles and we keep following each other. At the moment, I think content wise, the Malayalam industry is leading the way
Mm,
in terms of really exciting stories being told on screen.
yeah,
So, what we have to learn is not from one particular industry within the country, but from one another all the time.
yeah,
At this moment, if you say, I will take the storytelling ability of the Malayalam filmmakers, the
yeah.
financial muscle of the Telugu industry, and the ready-made loyal market that the Hindi film industry has. So we all have to learn from each other. I'm not being politically correct. I mean
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And Siva, tell me this. So you're saying now you're admiring the. This is the time where we a lot of people, all of us are admiring the Malayalam industry for the kind of stories that yet they're able to pull off. Because at the end of the day, you should be able to pull off the film, because that's the most difficult thing to actually do. Where do you think the Malayalam, as a filmmaker, as a producer, and a long associate in the Tamil industry, Are there any specific pointers that you think the Malayalam industry is doing for them to be able to pull off and specifically come out of the whole bunch of content that's out there and stand out amongst them?
Again, for many decades, when I was growing up, I was told that West Bengal and Kerala happen to be the smartest states in the country because the literary rate was pretty high. Literacy rate was pretty high. I also know for sure that the most popular high quality literature came out of Malayalam, Bengali, and sometimes even from Kannada, which we
Mm,
had read in their English translated versions.
mm,
I, I, that must have something to do with the quality of narratives. If such good literature is readily available, and if the majority of the people can read well, so there is already an exposure to high quality narratives. So
mm.
trite, boring, formulaic stories don't hold water beyond a point. I think the actors respect the writers, and the writers respect the audience. The audience respect only good stories. So I think it's a very healthy ecosystem where good stories are welcome, and the more innovative you are, and the more challenging the narrative is, and the appreciation is even stronger. I would say a good literary knowledge and the high literacy rate was anyway pushing them in the right direction. Let's see if Kannada catches up next. I think they are long overdue.
That is such a great point, Seva. What a great point that it is because of the quality of literature is why their understanding of cinema and the quality of cinema that they produce is
Yeah,
that better.
last 10 15 years, even Marathi cinema has become bigger.
That's
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same cycle I feel because Marathi, again, like Kannada, has a very strong tradition of theater also. So the themes they've tackled, and narrative innovations they've tried out on different platforms, all of that should come together on screen now.
that is such a great point that the quality of cinema that you're trying to produce for the audience that you're trying to produce also depends a lot upon the audience literacy because of the kind of culture that has already been
Yep,
built there, so that really
that's what I
sort of
think.
that's a great perspective, Siva, and I don't think there is anything else or any other way that's a possibility. And do you think that that's one of the reasons, if you would like to be not politically correct and answer this, at least do you think that this is one of the reasons that Hindi filmmakers are not being able to pull off the kind of stories because there's so much of talent out there and great storytelling abilities, but the selling is not there because the producers are not ready to back up these kind of stories because they feel the audience is not going to. Because again, coming back to the literature part, it's perhaps we are not. This belt is, and I come from North India. Perhaps that belt is not as culturally evolved because they have
Wow.
not
I did say
because
that.
because they have not built that in their cultural system. What do you think?
No,
The literary
no,
literary abilities.
no. I would probably put it differently. And again, it's open for discussion. And you should ask somebody like Javed Saab or Gulzar Sir
Oh yeah.
about these things. They would know better naturally.
Mm,
Uh,
yeah.
I obviously I have a lot of friends who work in the Hindi movie industry who are writers and
Yeah.
directors.
Yeah.
My take on that is Hindi film industry is not one animal. It's got many species, subspecies within that.
Mm,
There are big films and there are small films. There are movies catering to the NRI audience. There are movies catering to specifically now the OTT crowd. I feel mass uh, favorites are made in a slightly incestuous manner. Like movies produce more movies. It has happened in other languages as well. So I can't really say it is a problem with one particular industry, but we tend to follow the herd.
Yeah.
Something works and we want to replicate that, and then we
Yes.
want to combine two movies that worked and then create a hybrid uh, as your third film, and you hope that keeps bringing in the money. But what it does at some point is that movies start mimicking other movies. There's
Yeah.
no sense of reality. And that is when you feel the quality of, let's say, the Malayalam movies is so high, because there is a representation of real life scenarios in cinematic language. So you kind of connect with it even at a deeper level.
Yeah.
Hindi movies, I don't know whether that cultural thing is a point, but at the making level, at the creation level, the source that you tap into is at the moment limited to other movies. But if the filmmakers, if the writers are able to borrow from other sources, there's something magical going to happen. Let's look at something like even Three Idiots or
Yeah.
Nirja.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those movies came from real life incidents and from a published book. So
Yeah.
and they both did really well. So I think it is where your ideas come from, and yeah, I think your creative field becomes more fertile if you borrow more from real life and from literature and theater.
Yeah. Yeah. Siva, tell me, you made your first film, I think, in 2006, if my date
Yeah.
recollection is right, as your first directorial film, and then you, in your journey, um, diverged into as a writer. You were part of the Roja team, if I'm not wrong.
No.
Um,
Roja was way back. I was
okay,
part of Chekacho Navanam. I worked in Surma. I worked in Sachin A Billion Dreams. I worked in a few
and you were also
scripts.
part of the shooting of Chaya Chaya, if I'm not wrong. That's also
That
mentioned
that was that
on your Wikipedia page. Yeah. So
that was day one for me in the movie
yeah,
industry.
that
Mm.
that sort of must be fun. Tell me about a few very severe challenges that you came on your journey, on this journey of filmmaking, which you, when you look back now, what do you feel about them now in 2025?
I think the learnings have been a lot, and we continue to learn. I
Yeah,
think I'll probably choose two: one at a personal level, one at a very professional level. At a personal level, I wish I had known this earlier, but we all learn at some point of time
yeah,
that you are not who you think you are. You probably need to know a few more things before you could become the next Spielberg, or you're probably not as bad in certain aspects as you worried. So that process of self discovery, um, figuring out where you actually stand on this line that will take you to your destination, that was quite a tough one to learn, because to be more specific on that, I probably had goals directly linked to my age. I thought by the time I'm 28, I would do this. By 30, I'll do this. By 40, I'll have my national award. 45, I'm okay with the Oscar. All those things were.
see,
Mm,
everyone does this. Everyone, yeah, yeah,
none of that worked out. But the good news is it doesn't break you, because
mm,
the whole process is what it's all about.
yeah,
The journey is the fun part, not the destination. This was
yeah,
very hard learning. On the professional side, I realized that, like I started for your first question, filmmaking is a team sport.
yeah,
There is authorship, there is this author thing, and there is this individual stamp that you can place on a film at
yeah,
various levels. But ultimately the film is shaped by many individuals,
yeah,
some strong hands, some soft hands, some good hands, some weak hands. What you end up with is definitely the result of many different creative forces. To understand that and to accept that was a fun thing.
yeah, yeah. So, you have had, I think, you are one of the closest associates of Mani Ratnam sir, and you are literally like his closest friend, pal, whatever,
Okay.
So, as I met you, and when I met you, and I got to know you very briefly, um, what are the qualities uh, that makes such an association possible, such a relationship possible, to work with somebody like Mani sir, who is considered like a legend in his own right?
Okay, from my side, I would say the fact that I still look up to him, I admire him, and I'm looking forward to learning from him is definitely a factor. So, yeah, I wish I were his friend, but I don't see it that way.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do look up to him. I continue
yeah,
to treat him as my boss and guru in that sense. So, I think the fundamental thing to this relationship is like I uh, said in the beginning, our roles are defined.
yeah,
We know who is boss and who is working for who, and then you don't deal with it. So that is point number one, where I am actually there to help him realize his plans. Uh, the other thing is he has always empowered me. He makes me feel like I am contributing to his film. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not, but I do feel like I'm an important part of the process. So it's a very happy equation in that sense. If I were a believer, I would say touch wood. I'm not, so I don't care. I can say that statement and not worry about the universe thwarting it. Um, I like his movies a lot, and I
yeah,
love the way he approaches cinema.
mm,
There is a pure, uh, unadulterated quality to his professionalism.
mm,
Nothing comes between him and the movies. So he's always logical, ethical, efficient, and he's fun to work with. So I there's not there's no other place I would rather be. So yeah, I hope that answered your question.
yeah. Tell me when you and you are a director in your own right, and you are looking up to this legend who is like your close associate. When you have to, you know, put a few qualities of a director, your observations. These are the very important qualities that a director should have. What would that be?
Wow. Um, okay, I think I'll answer that question without cynicism because there are going to be youngsters watching this. So I'm okay to share that. Otherwise, that's such a broad question. I'll feel inadequate to answer that. But it's a good question. If somebody else says this, I would want to listen. Uh, uh, Let me think. I think the term director clearly says what the role is supposed to be, right? You're not the commander, you are not a dictator, you are a director, which means you are actually honing the skills of others. You are actually shaping their creative energy.
Yeah,
You are reshaping what their output is towards a common goal. So, having an overall perspective of what the film is supposed to be makes somebody a good or bad director. I mean, let me make it clear. All of us have a vision. All of us know this is what my film is going to be. This is how it is supposed to play out in theaters. And maybe it's a bad film that's in our brain, and we are probably telling everybody to follow our lead to make that film. To make a good film, the director's vision should already be of a good film. To start with, their taste should be so good in terms of music, acting, cinematography, art direction, costume, sound mixing, visual effects, everything. And they should have the language to tell the respective artists and technicians how to get there. So, combining both those points, I would say the vision and ability to communicate. That kind of makes the director the strong person. Naturally, they have to be very good with people. If they are temperamentally weak or they are confused themselves, that kind of throws others off balance. So, vision, communication, and a friendly personality.
Yeah, lovely. Vision, communication, and a friendly personality. Siva, you made your film and then you took a break and you were working in different other departments, producing and writing. What has been your challenges when it comes to making your own films in terms of getting your films out there more often as a director?
I think I had taken this call with advice from Mr. Kamal Haasan that having some sort of creative control over a film or a series. You have to include that now, a long format show. Having some sort of creative control over the content of a film or a series is more important than actually projecting that control in terms of a title. So, if you are in a position to determine what this movie or show is about and how it is going to, what color it's going to have, how it is going to feel uh, uh, when somebody experiences it, then that is probably more important. It is what he has said. So the main challenge is always getting into a creative sync. Let's say you have a story, let's say you have an idea. How do you find finances for that? And finance is not just the money. There are millions of people with money, and maybe you can raise it yourself. Maybe you can borrow from friends and family. Maybe somebody will trust you and say, take my house and my car and make your film. They're going to say that.
Yeah,
So the challenge is, when I say finances, it's not just about raising money, it's about marketing it. So, how do I make this film for the X amount of money and sell it for the X plus spread? So, that skill, which is the producer's skill,
yeah,
is so important. And the producer's vision and the maker's vision has to be in alignment. So, the biggest challenge has been that if I had a story, if I had a full fledged script and I want to make it, finding the right person to walk with me and say, yeah, I like this, I'll do it. So we resort to producing our own stuff. So it's not a complaint. I wish my uh, taste slash ability matches that of somebody else who doesn't want to direct but wants to produce. I think that would be lovely to have
yeah,
that kind of a
yeah,
partnership.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So well put, Seva. You just underlined you just hit the nail on its head. You know, this is such an important point you just made, that it is not about, it is financing, but what is also important is that who is walking the path with you to be able to finance plus market and plus take it out there, which is the job of a producer, which is what a producer specializes in. So to get somebody like that who can match you is one of the critical challenges of a director, and you have just like put it so beautifully out there, without being politically correct. You've just underlined the whole fact. Thanks for doing that. Okay. uh, Now we're talking, so anything, any specific pointers about how the Tamil industry works, how the South industry works, and what are the challenges that it's facing right now? What do you like about Tamil industry, which perhaps everyone should know about?
Over different decades, different things have worked out, like in other industries. Like there was a phase in the mid 80s when the first bunch of filmmakers came out of the Film Institute. A lot of them got together, made their films. In the mid 80s, there was this wave of filmmakers from that. Adair Film Institute, who all worked together and they produced movies that suddenly had a different cinematic language. In the uh, late noughties and early 2010s, we also had this new wave of filmmakers who came out of the short film boom. There were people who probably studied engineering or law or something else.
Nagesh Kukunur.
Nagesh Kokunur is a pioneer. He started
Acha.
it in the late 90s. There was this bunch of Tamil guys like Karthik Subbaraj,
Huh.
for example. There were like seven, eight of them.
Huh.
Nalan Kumarasamy. They all, I think they're probably friends in real life as well. I don't know. All these guys made interesting short films. And then these producers walked in and said, I love your film. I want you to direct a full length feature. Maybe that story can be expanded to a 2.5 hour story, and let's do that. So and there was that group of filmmakers who came out, and some of them continue to have great careers. At this point, I think we are dealing with the phenomenon called OTTs.
Yeah.
So there is the question of, do I take this story to the big screen, or do I try to take it to an OTT platform so that it plays out to the audience in their homes and I don't have to worry about the print and publicity cost that gets added to a production cost if I had a theatrical release. That is probably the biggest challenge. What story works for everybody? What story works for the homebound audience? That is the really crucial question.
Mm.
Do I have the theater going people's appetite
Mm.
for, let's say, a small, let's say, Abhiman?
Yeah. Bachchan.
Forget about the superstars who acted in it.
Huh.
Let's say that is the story.
Yeah.
Do I make this for the theaters or do I make it
Yeah.
for OTT now? So that
Great.
is the challenge.
Great, great. What a great point, Siva. What you've just hit the nail. This is such a great point. Whether I make it for a OTT, and this is such a huge challenge. This is a challenge that everyone is treading.
Yep.
Everyone is treading in all, in all the industries.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
What is the solution?
I don't think that this is a problem. I think this is also an opportunity. So
Mm,
you decide how to make use of it, because you also make your own rules, right?
yeah,
As a filmmaker, that
yeah,
you filter out ideas in your mind and you try to
yeah,
make them. Maybe this will actually open up more creative avenues rather than limiting you. Maybe you'll be able to tell more stories. Maybe some of the stories you've locked up in your hard disk, you can pull out and say, yes, now I have a platform to say this.
mm,
So it, I think it'll all settle down and we'll have a smooth run for 5 years before something else comes in. And you know what that something else is? It's the elephant in the room.
yeah.
AI.
What do you think
So,
about? What do you think about that?
AI
Yeah,
is very interesting.
yeah.
I'm not able to look at AI as a technology I can harness and use.
Mm,
It is also going to be a lifestyle change.
totally
It's
agree.
yeah, yeah. So
It's another world.
yeah, it's another world.
It's another world.
Uh,
Yeah,
so and it also takes you to some philosophical,
yeah,
metaphysical zone where,
yeah,
do I like The Last Supper or Romeo and Juliet? Because I knew these ideas came from another person's brain. And do I try to understand that person through this art?
yeah,
And is that part of my kick in
yeah,
appreciating art?
yeah,
Will I have the same connect if I knew something was totally machine generated? Or am
yeah,
I going to treat it like it is still another human being's idea that has been filtered through this process? I have no idea how I'm going to relate to predominantly AI generated art of any kind: music, painting, stories. Yes, there are certain traditional jobs that are no longer valid. I don't see the role for a professional translator anymore. And I'm talking about people who are really smart, who've spent a lot of
yeah,
time in learning multiple languages,
yeah,
and who would have been the pride of their families at their weddings and all. Chinu can speak 6 languages. Now Chinu doesn't have a job. So
yeah,
so how do you accept that? It's part of your overall lifestyle change as well. How do I
yeah,
see it? How do I see it? I'm excited and I'm a bit scared, like everybody
yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah,
Uh, bec- uh, I think the survival instinct of a human being kicks in first, where you wonder,
yeah,
oh, will I be replaced? Will I become redundant in most setups? That's probably the question for anybody who is banking on one or two of their core skills to make an impact, or even make a living.
Yeah.
That will be the question they'll be trying to figure out.
Yeah.
That obviously comes in,
Yeah.
but filmmaking has been one unique art form which has always benefited from any new technology.
Yeah.
Writing hasn't changed. It's still some thoughts going into words. It was done with pen and paper, then it became print. Now it's done digitally. Maybe the distribution of books has changed. Instead of a physical copy, you have all the digital versions available. But one art form that has totally benefited from every new technology has been filmmaking, be it for the visuals or for the VFX or for the sound, and again for all the cranes and the making equipment, or for distribution. At every level, filmmaking has benefited from uh, every scientific advancement. I think AI is going to play a role in each and every stage. I'm using AI to break down and schedule films.
Yeah.
I'm using AI to reconfigure my plans, but I'm sure people are doing that for music and for color grading and for everything possible. The area where it is probably going to bother me a little bit is in creating stories and in creating digital actors. So there are some moral, ethical questions to start with, and then there are also some actual philosophical questions. Will I appreciate the performance of a digital actor as much as I would love the acting of, let's say, Sanjeev Kumar? I don't know. Those are the things we need to know.
Yeah, those are the things we need to. It's taking over script writing totally. It's taking over the pitching of the scripts totally. You can pitch within AI. You don't even need to be there.
Hmm.
So, what is the role that a scriptwriter will have? What is the role that? So, do you see that the 20 people job or the 50 people job is now going to can be performed by 2 to 3 people sitting in a room and making a whole 2 hour film?
So I was talking to my aunt who worked in the banking sector from 1978 to 2015 or something. And I remember that time computers were introduced in the banks in 92, 93, maybe. She was already 14 years into her job, and there was panic all around. This computer, this one computer is going to replace 10 other people's jobs. So we are all going to lose out in this revolution. So there were some unionized strikes and everything, but people had to be trained in computers, and things have settled down, and more people have learned computers, and they benefited from it. So I think every writer worth her salt, his salt, is going to learn how to use AI to tell their stories. So we are not going to suffer in the long run, but we have to catch up. I do know of editors who didn't graduate to the Avid era and lost out when Steinbeck's went out of fashion. Similarly, if you are going to deny the influential role AI is going to play in every step of the filmmaking process, then you're going to be in trouble. So let's all learn and figure out how we can use it rather than see it as a challenge. No, we won't lose jobs. We will have new kinds of jobs. We have to
Right.
learn. Yeah, we have to learn those skills instead of actually sitting down and typing ideas. The writers will have to learn how to use the prompt to bring out their ideas and make it better with the help of AI and make it faster. I think that's probably step one.
Yeah. And two of the critical challenges of making films, also like you pointed out, one is your financing challenge and then your marketing and distribution challenge. Do you think that can get addressed, or do you see that getting addressed?
In an indirect way, definitely, because the AI is going to play a big role. in A, cost control.
Yeah.
It's going to be big. I mean, yeah, like we said, some jobs are going to be amalgamated, some new jobs are going to be created. I'm sure this will make things more efficient, just like even a WhatsApp group can make life much better in film production. We've seen that happen.
Yeah.
Cell phones made it more efficient. So, yeah, it is going to help you in cost control. And B, maybe, I'm not too sure, but maybe there will be ways to actually do better market research with this to actually understand that for this scale and for this kind of a financial goal, what kind of movies I can make. I'm not saying that is high art. That's almost like a product being put out there. I don't think AI is going to tell you how to make the Virgin Spring or Annie Hall. That will have to come out of a slightly twisted creative mind, twisted in a good way. Um, so AI will play a role in the financing and marketing, definitely in budgeting and understanding the financial risks of the project, and in making the whole process more efficient. It will play a very, very significant role. And maybe there will be ways this will be used to actually study the market also better. So yes.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Great, great. Siva, thank you so much for taking our time and for being here. And it's so lovely to see you online through the camera as well after so many months.
Mhm.
So, yeah, thank you
Thank you
so
so much. Thank you so much for having me. Uh, It's a lot of fun.